Alright, what's going on, yo? I'm back with another quick hit clip right here for the channel on Welcome to the Franchise. Back to talk a little bit more about some NBA. Just got, the lineup for the reserves and also the starting lineups for the All-Star game, for the All-Star weekend and shit. And I got to put my thoughts out on that and, dive straight into it. So back with another one here with the franchise guy. For Welcome to the Franchise. Let me get into it right quick with this NBA All-Star shit, right? So I seen here, and I didn't know that they were still doing. I'm gonna start here first. I didn't know that they were still doing All-Star captains and shit, where niggas is picking their teams and shit. Still, I thought they kind of put it back to the East-West shit. Maybe my memory's a little fuzzy on that, cause I still was on some when I found out it first happened. Who the fuck cares? I don't want to see that shit like that or whatever. But I guess they're still doing that dumb shit, right? So there goes that. That's fucking up the All-Star game, whatever. But the All-Star votes came out, or whatever the selections and shit came out as of today when me recording it. So tonight recording this, I seen the reserves and shit. And what I seen and what I kept hearing, this is the coaches' votes, the coaches in the league's votes. And it's like, in the back of my head, I'm like, who gives a fuck what the coaches say? They're going to pick their favorite, or they're going to pick some veterans, or they're going to pick some niggas that's just like, yeah, he played a game the right way. And, he running the system the right way and shit like that. Or he doing things the correct way and efficiently in the system and how the game's supposed to be played. Fuck that shit. I don't want to hear about the coaches' votes. It's about what we the people really want to see and everything like that. Or, like we want to see the real highlights and shit, like the real ballers or some new faces and shit that are on the come up. So let me get into the NBA All-Star reserves that I felt like could have and should have made the team and would have been fun to see them in the All-Star game or whatever, I guess, and shit. But on the East, on the Eastern Conference side, no LaMelo Ball, no Trae Young, who's, niggas thought he was gonna take another step back and be in a little slump or some shit. But that nigga is still lighting shit up, doing numbers, leads the league in assists. So Trae Young still doing this thing. And then you got Tyrese Maxey, who I know he was hurt, I think, early in the season and everything. Probably not enough games played or some stupid shit like that. But since he came back, he been cooking and going crazy and shit. And then I know, and I understand it. I would have liked to see Ben Carroll in there, but I know that he's been hurt for basically most of the year so far and shit. But before he got hurt, he put up a 50 burger. When he came back from being hurt, he been putting up big numbers also. So it would have been cool to see him in there. And this is my little argument, my little opinion and shit about the All-Star game and who All-Star players are. Like, these the motherfuckers that we want to see. These the niggas that we actually want to see play. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to watch Darius Garland in the All-Star game. I don't want to watch his game and shit. What's he gonna do? Run around, pick and roll, jack up a three all the time. You know what I'm saying? Or run around, pick and roll, run around in circles, do a little, with one hand on his off foot, do a layup under the rim and shit, a reverse layup. His version of a reverse layup. Not exciting. I don't even really see that nigga cross niggas up like that no more. And don't get me wrong, Darius Garland is nice. He gets buckets, does what he's supposed to do, he does his thing and shit like that. As far as now at this point with some other players that we probably would have rather seen, right now you got your couple All-Star selections. You're a really good player. You're on the number one team in your conference and everything like that. It's cool, but we don't want to see that nigga play. We don't want to see you just hitting threes from the logo, because that's all you're going to fucking do in the All-Star game. You ain't going to do no crazy shit. Ain't like you're going to do a windmill dunk or do some crazy fancy passes like that and shit. I mean, not to my recent memory, I see Darius Garland doing that shit. Maybe someone could fill me in on that, and I could be wrong. But at the end of the day, we want to see shit. We want to see some shit that's going to get our asses out the chair. Maybe like, oh, shit. And I think niggas like LaMelo definitely would have did that. He's a highlight reel in himself, just passing the ball. handling and passing the ball and doing all these little trick moves and shit in game action and scoring as well. And he could hit the 3-2, and he could go to the lane and do some wild shit with, you know what I'm saying, reverse and change hands in the air and all type of shit and do all them alley-oops. We would have much rather seen him over someone like Darius Garland. I definitely would have liked to see Trae Young, because I feel like when he plays in All-Star games, he gets it. He takes some crazy threes, yeah, but he be making some of them in the All-Star game. But he will make some nice passes, some crazy passes and shit. I think he be getting like crazy steals, but I mean, it's turnovers all over the place. You can't really count that. But my main thing is that it's exciting and fun to watch him play in the All-Star game. And he plays like he knows people are watching and see something exciting, and he plays like he knows I need to turn heads and shit. From the times that I've seen him play in the All-Star game, and plus his game overall. So those two motherfuckers I would rather see over somebody like fucking Darius Garland. Pablo Banchero, like I said, if he was healthy, it would be fun to see him as a reserve over a nigga like motherfucking, Spicy P. Spicy P, really, really good player, really efficient, fine player and everything like that. Been in the league for some years and, of course, operating and producing at a high rate. Awesome, great. You could shoot, you play defense, you run the floor, you could hit some big shots, you could dunk, all that and shit. But I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not coming to the All-Star game to see Pascal Siakam play. You know what I'm saying? So I would have much rather see somebody like Banchero, but let's see. I mean, he probably surprised us in this game this year, I guess. We'll fucking see. I don't fucking know. But, it's no hate towards Pascal Siakam. Really good player, like I said. It's just, with this whole subject now about why the ratings are dying down and why people don't want to watch and why the product is unwatchable on the court and everything like that, sometimes it's because, we're not seeing the showmanship also from some of the players, I feel like. And we're seeing the same type of basketball from most players, whether it's just jacking up mad threes or it's just like, this bullshit with the PER, player efficiency rating. They just making those efficient plays, which is good. Of course, you need that to win games and win championships, win the playoffs, all that shit, which is great. But as far as an all-star game, which is supposed to be for fun and entertainment, mainly the entertainment part, you know what I'm saying? And, the fun is cool too, but also to be competitive and shit. You know what I'm saying? You want to see players that are really going to make you hop out your seat a little bit, turn heads and shit like that. So it would have been fun to see somebody else in there, possibly besides those couple players. Then you got Mobley also, who's coming off the bench as a reserve. And I think I said this before too. I think Mobley is a good player, another good player and everything, efficient, can hit the outside shot sometimes, crashes the boards, has a little bit of handle, nice little mid-range game and everything. So I don't know, I'm kind of in between on that one. It's fun to see him in an all-star game. Let's see what he do with the opportunity, if he's going to be one of them players to put his name out there some more like that. He seems really mild-mannered, like that's not really going to be his thing. But I don't know. I don't know who else there was on the East that we probably would rather see. So, shit, it's probably a good look anyway for him being in there as a reserve that was selected as well. And I was saying this also. I'm like, damn, it's not really that many bigs for the East. But I'm wrong on that. I mean, you got Giannis and you got Cat in there. Spicy P, basically a big man, and then Mobley. So, I caught myself on that. That was one of my thoughts in real time. I caught myself on that. I'm like, nah, they got bigs in there and shit. So, see, I could also admit when I have maybe some things I think, or some of my opinions may be wrong. Like, I could say that shit too. But that was the Eastern Reserves that I heard about, and some of the Eastern Reserves that I felt like probably should have been, had a chance, could have, or should have been in the All-Star game that people want to see. Starting lineup, I ain't gonna hold you, I fuck with it. Although how I'm thinking with my crazy ideas and shit, I would have much rather see a LaMelo and Jalen Brunson backcourt to start and have, Mitchell come off the bench, but that ain't gonna happen when you got the number one seed in the East and shit. And, Mitchell is still nice. I think I spoke on that a little bit too. He's still nice and does his thing, but, I want to see if he's going to do some more shit. You know what I'm saying? That's going to make my eyes pop, which I did catch a highlight last night of him in the game that he played in. He was going crazy, so I was wrong there too. So, well deserved on the starting spot for him. Now on the West, one of the niggas, and I was watching the reserve part on TNT, and one of them brought up Norman Powell, who been a great pro in the league for years, and I've been seeing some of his numbers and some of his highlights. I've always liked Norman Powell, even from back when he was on Toronto. Just a good pro, good guy you want off the bench that's going to play some D, put up some numbers, you know what I'm saying, hit a couple threes here and there. And, in his younger days, more of showcasing the athleticism to his game, and he can still do that these days. But, they said they thought that he probably should have made his first All-Star game. And I kind of agree with that because looking at his numbers this year, going crazy as a scorer, of course, he's always been good from three, but this is different this year from three. It used to be like you'll see a Norman Powell stat line. He's going to be good for 2 threes, maybe 3 in each game. But now that shit is going up to like he hitting 6 threes a game, and he's scoring. He's not just taking you from 3. He's trying to make moves and cross you up a little bit and make his way to the lane. So it kind of would have been a little bit cool to see him in there, maybe showcase some more shit that he could do, and maybe he try and, I never seen him take them type of shots, but maybe he try, go out there and showcase, hey, I could hit from the logo too, or I could hit 10 threes in one game too, some shit like that. So, that might have been fun to watch. And then one of the things that kind of got to me on the West is just I saw James Harden back on the All-Star team as a reserve. And I don't know, I just feel like more recent in the past 3 to 5 years, James Harden to me is just like, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm over it, kind of over it, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like in those years when he's with OKC, definitely with Houston, you supposed to been at least been in a championship game, definitely have at least one ring between both of those teams or some shit like that. And then you do all this silly circus shit, getting yourself to Brooklyn and forcing yourself to Philly and then forcing yourself to the Clippers and then trying to force yourself out of the Clippers to get back to Houston. Like, it's a fucking circus now, and you're considered by statistics-wise in the media one of the greats. You're top in a lot of categories in the way that you play the game. You're considered by some people, some fans and shit, and some people in the media as one of the greats, and it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me and awkward how to judge his career and shit. Because I still think that he's nice. He is still dead nice. But it's just like niggas was over it and shit. So now he's an all-star again for whatever the up-team time in his career, which is great. Shout out to him and everything. And he's having a big year, good year. I mean, Kawhi's not playing, so of course he got to actually pick up the slack and actually play like a leader, which he was capable of doing at certain points in his career, but not always the key moments, the pivotal moments. But he's picking up the slack here this year and probably putting up them all-star numbers. But this is where it comes back to me hearing that, the coaches voted. The coaches voted, because with our attention spans and us as fans and shit like that, and this new age shit, who we really want to see, nigga, I would have been forgot about that nigga. Like, no, we don't want to see you no more, bro. We don't want to see you no more. Just like, I kind of said I'm tired of seeing the old niggas teaming up with the super team shit and all that. I don't really want to watch KD with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, or if it's going to be Jimmy Butler no more. I don't want to see that type of shit no more. Because you see after a while them niggas don't got no bench, or they start getting hurt, or it's always something they not scoring enough when they need to, or some shit like that, or it's only 2 or 3 of them that could do something and no one else could do shit, and these niggas be gassed and tired and they don't even hit the bench, and they lose in the playoffs. Tired of seeing that shit. Like, niggas don't want to see that shit no more. But, I felt like me. You know what I'm saying? How I'm thinking about it is like, let's see some new blood in there. Let's see a nigga like Jalen Green who doing his thing. I mean, he got his team to the 2 seed with the players he's with. I see Şengün. Shout out to Şengün. He made it as a reserve. That's what's up. But I think Jalen Green should have been right there with him too, because he having a big year. They number 2, better than the Clippers and what the Clippers is doing and shit. And we get it. James Harden made all these all-star games. He made the playoffs mad times. He's mad nice. He won an MVP. He did all, but let's see some new blood. We want to see some new niggas and see what they want to do on this stage, how they want to get busy on here. No Ja in there neither. I get it though. He missed some games. I think there's some health issues and stuff. And took off a few back-to-back games and stuff. So I get it. He didn't play enough games, but fuck that. Like, he healthy now. We want to see that shit. We wanna fucking see that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I forget who else was there in the reserves that I kind of would have had swapped out. But Anthony Davis, he's hurt anyway, so they're talking about he may not play or some shit like that. Most likely he's not. Even if he was healthy-ish, he would have been like, yo, don't give me too many minutes, nigga. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get hurt and all that shit, because we know how he is. Get that slot to someone like fucking Jalen Green or whatever, and I hear that, Devin Booker's still been putting up some numbers. I guess give it to him just to add on to the accolades and going into a deeper era now in his veteranship in the league or some shit like that. Honestly, I try to look through it too. I'm like, damn, who else from the West could we have in there that we would want to see? And it's actually not too many fucking people. So I think the only person I would probably swap out really is James Harden for Jalen Green. Maybe when I see the reserve or the full roster again, I'll come back and talk about that again at some point, this week or next week or some shit when the All-Star game actually happens. But nah, I stick with let's get some new blood in there. It would have been cool to see Jalen Green with Şengün in there too, Houston Rockets in there. But that's the All-Star game, man. Selections and this the bullshit that they doing. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's making the game better, but whatever. Now to a next thing I want to touch on that I was also seeing while I was watching this as well, seeing some reports and everything like that, is that you got Terry Rozier now being investigated by the feds or some shit, or some issue with prop bets, and fans upset about a prop bet a few hours before, and he took himself out of a game or some shit like that, or something about this is when they talk about this shit was when he was on the Hornets, not even on the Heat a couple seasons ago. And I'm like, yo, this shit crazy. So now we got another situation because you had the old boy up in Toronto, Michael Porter Jr., brother and shit. He got caught up with his shit fucking around, which is still crazy to me because even, it's not like he's on the level of his brother, Michael Porter Jr., but you probably still taking home like $300,000. So why risk it? Just to me, you know what I'm saying? And you're probably going to have some other opportunities down the line, the NBA or overseas or whatever, or just in life to, to parlay, pun intended, to parlay your salary and making $300,000 or $500,000 or $1 million and do something else with your life if you're not going to make it in the NBA. So why risk that? Or when you're out the league, then do some shit like that, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Find your loopholes, you know what I mean? A different little finesse. A different little niche in your finesse game there. But now you got Terry Rozier and this shit. They try to say they ain't finding him, no foul play, no wrongdoing on his part, but it's still being investigated because I guess these niggas that bet on him on that specific game, it's a lot of them that, file some type of complaint or some shit. So now they gotta look into it because it may look a little bit fishy, so it may be perceived as fishy. And this is also one of the things that I think is really killing the NBA's product. But you can't just put it on the NBA. Maybe it could down the line it could fuck up all sports and shit. Like now that this gambling shit is way more accessible and way more popular and I guess less dangerous from the stories that I heard of how shit used to work way back in the day, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It opens up a whole can of worms here with people that want to place bets and they doing their research or they know the game or they betting on this player and then they, the books are purposely not putting the stats out correctly and shit when niggas is watching the game start to finish. And they're like, nah, they said he only had 3 rebounds, not counting. He had 5. You know what I'm saying? All type of shit like that. Or what's recorded as a rebound or not. Then it takes you back to the days of before you had all these apps and shit where you could safely in your home on your fucking couch just place a bet instead of going to your bookie and worrying about what they used to say back in the day, niggas breaking your legs and all that shit. You know, niggas now could do this shit on all their apps, and then you think about the days when referees used to be like, yeah, we used to, you know what I'm saying? We used to fix a couple of them things and shit so that, you know what I'm saying, we knew the people that we needed to win and shit. And now when you got motherfuckers that admitted that from what's that, 10, 20 years ago now, and you got what's going on now, the books is real open, everybody got a chance to take money, you know what I'm saying, trying to take money as much as they can in all type of fucked up ways and shit. You think it's not going on now? Or refs and people that record stats and shit like that, and even players aren't in question? You know what I'm saying? You think that history changes that much? That, you know what I'm saying, niggas with the Henry Hill play up in Boston and Rhode Island, you think niggas is not running that play in the league now that the shit is legalized in some type of form in certain places? So that could be a killer also, especially with NBA, where I think you, as a player, you know what I'm saying, you have a little bit more influence and power to probably sway the outcomes of certain statistics in certain games. Football, you probably do too, but a lot harder to probably pull that off as an individual and get away with it. Or not get away with it, because they shit, I don't know yet. We don't know yet. There's probably some investigations coming down the line. Maybe they are getting away with it for now, but it's a little. What I'm saying is a little bit harder probably to have a bigger influence on the outcomes of statistics and the outcomes of games as a player, without making it seem so obvious. Where there are some games that we see as fans where certain players, where it looks obvious, it's like, yo, why the fuck he ain't? Or why the fuck they? But in basketball, it's kind of crazy. You already got niggas that don't want to play. You already got niggas that want to, you know, they want to be on some, nah, I'm not playing back-to-back. Oh, load management. Or, oh, it's supposed to be 2-star players versus each other. You don't even know if they you thinking they're going to, you didn't see nothing on the injury report all day, all week. You come home, you turn on TNT or you turn on ESPN and shit, and you turn it on and they're like, oh, they not playing. And you sick as hell because you're like, what the fuck? Imagine the niggas that got to pay the money to go to that shit with their kids or their family or their high school basketball teams and all type of shit, and they got to deal with that. You know, then you got to deal with when they do want to play, they're doing little fishy, funny shit to get certain little numbers so they whoever they're working with could pluck on the ticket, you know what I'm saying? Make their little bread, take money and shit, break it down and everything between each other. And then, you know, he'd be like, I got to chill in the third quarter. My foot hurt. You know what I'm saying? That fucks up the product of the game. You making fans upset both ways. The niggas that's putting money on the shit and the motherfuckers that don't even care to put money on this shit. And they just trying to watch and enjoy the shit. You know, so that's a fucking problem. You know what I mean? And then leading into that, I also saw that, you know, with the ratings, they say it's, you know, it's going down and down and down with the NBA and shit. I seen Adam Silver talking about, oh, we gonna shorten the quarters to 10 minutes now instead of 12. I mean, cool, but to me, that's still not gonna make the shit. It's still not gonna make the shit better. I did just say also they should shorten the amount of games down, but yeah, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Oh, it's gonna fuck up the niggas' money and the sponsorships and the more money and all that shit, But like, think about it. If niggas want to watch more or more invested in the product and shit, it might spring up a new bag and shit by shortening the amount of games. Or what? If you want to shorten the quarters, fine, shorten the quarters and shit. And I get it. You need these many games for the money part of it and shit, right? Cool. But it's still shitty. It still could be a shitty product. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you want to do 10-minute quarters or a 40-minute game. And I think Adam Silver in the little clip that I caught was saying, well, yeah, you know, you could shorten it down like I guess other leagues do around the world. They're the only league that does 12-minute quarters. And then I think he said something or bringing up something about the attention span of the average fan these days. There's a lot of things, you know, that they can have their mind on, which is true. I ain't gonna front. A couple games I try to watch, I find myself competing on my phone too sometimes, because even when you start seeing some bad basketball, some boring basketball, or you start seeing some niggas on the court that you don't even fucking know, you're not invested in this shit, and you're like, oh, Steph is off tonight or so-and-so's on the bench. I don't know who the fuck these niggas are. So I could limp around and play around on my phone for about 5 minutes of this quarter until the niggas that I actually know start getting to it. Or until this fucking 20-point lead dissolves in the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter and shit. Because that's another thing, too. It'd be so many fucking blowouts in the first and second quarter and most of the third quarter. And then out of fucking nowhere, niggas come back and it'd be a 4 or 5 point game in the third and fourth quarter and shit. And that also could be correlated and tied into the gambling shit, too. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, I'm not a professional basketball player. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I was just getting warmed up for the first 2 quarters, but we know we mad nice, so fuck it, let's just catch back up and then we really gonna play. Maybe that's just how their mindset is and how it works for them and shit. Maybe it has nothing to do with the gambling shit at all. Maybe. But yeah, shorten it to 10 minutes for the attention span and shit. I mean, yeah, we got new attention span fans, and you know, some of us that's been watching our whole life and everything. Like, yeah, we need some shit to keep us engaged and entertained and all that shit. But another part of it too, I think, is, you know, stop overpricing these bullshit ass fucking packages and shit. These TV packages and shit. I'm not paying a whole chunk of money for maybe a whole 30 teams. Maybe I just want to pay to see like 8 teams through the whole season, because those are the 8 teams that are exciting to me. I don't give a fuck about the Wizards, or if I live in Oregon and I'm trying to watch the fucking Orlando Magic because I'm from Florida or some shit like that. I don't want to have to pay that big ass amount where, yeah, I could get all the other games, but just to watch my one fucking team. That's not a really good trade-off for me if I'm really only invested in the fucking Orlando Magic, but I live in Oregon. So I got to settle for bullshit-ass Portland Trailblazer games. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, motherfuckers is not doing that shit. So stop doing that. That's probably another reason why viewership or TV ratings are down and shit, because niggas is not paying for that shit, on top of the fact that niggas is gonna people are always finding ways online and all these Reddit boards and whatever forums and all, whatever you call that shit on the internet all over the place, on how to stream shit for free. We gonna watch what we wanna watch, what's entertaining to us. Fine, you wanna put on the Cavs in Atlanta tonight? I don't give a fuck about them teams like that. I'm about to go on this little streaming app online right quick and try and find some 2 teams that's really getting that. They got niggas I want to see and everybody's healthy and all playing. And maybe you should try and partner with some of these motherfuckers and not charge a fucking arm, leg, and niggas' liver and kidneys to watch that shit. Maybe you should be like, hey, if you want the $7.99 a month package here and shit, we'll let you stream that shit, and all right, pick the 8 teams that you want to see the whole season. But if you do want to see all 30 teams all the time, if you're a big basketball crackhead fiend or basketball savant, okay, then maybe we'll charge you just, I don't know, like between $10 to $30 a month. But not no 70 something and above for anything on top of TV or on top of what you already got is fucking crazy. It's just crazy. Like, that shit is dumb. A majority of adult motherfuckers don't even stay in their house long enough to watch that much fucking TV. By the time they do and they start watching the TV when they get home from work or doing all the chores they gotta do and making dinner or wiping the kid's nose and putting them to bed and all that shit, by the time they get a chance to do that, the TV is watching them. They fucking sleep. So make some reasonable prices or some shit, or partner up. Do some innovative, some creative shit for your fucking fans and for the product. And make sure these motherfuckers is playing the damn game. Make sure the star niggas and all the niggas is playing the fucking game. You know, but that's all I gotta say on that. But yeah, it's just another little quick hit here after seeing the latest news in the NBA. Just wanted to get that out there and put my takes out there on that. And you know how the NBA gotta get better. The NBA All-Star shit definitely gotta get better. Like, what the fuck? But you know, that's just a symptom. The whole problem itself is the whole NBA product on the court and the other things, the little ancillary things that they try and draw you in to make you watch off the court and get you interested and invested off the court with the gambling and the TV packages, and you trying to shorten the quarters and all this and challenging. Fix this shit, because this shit is ridiculous. So that's gonna be it for me on this one. Gonna wrap this quick hit up right here. Other than that, y'all enjoy the NBA games. Y'all enjoy the sports weekend. If you watch college basketball, women's college basketball, anything else that's gonna be going on throughout the rest of the week and the weekend, everybody have fun out there watching all your games, and y'all be easy.